You ever notice the similarities between Persona 4 and 5? While the stories themselves are ultimately different, there are actually several structural similarities between the two games. Both of these games are excellent, in my opinion, and this video really is just to discuss the similarities and kind of the formula that these two games follow. I also wanted to voice a little bit of concern, as if Persona can't find a way to innovate on this formula as they move forward, they're going to get stuck in a little bit of a rut. Formulas and similar traits between games in the same series are not inherently bad. It's when corporate and creative teams begin to rely too much on the successful formula that it becomes a bit of an issue. Innovation is stifled, and we begin to see problems in the formulaic works. So before we begin this video, there will be some spoilers for Persona 4 Golden and Persona 5 Royal.
That's way too simple. Aren't they gonna figure that out?
The bases of Persona 4 and 5 are actually pretty similar. You have very blatant arcs that tie to an overarching plot. As an example, while Kamoshida Madarame and Kaneshiro all have their own stories to tell with their own arcs and development, they also tie back to the larger narrative, which is, at least at the time, how did we get where we are in the present? Persona 4 also follows this. Yukiko, Kanji, and Rise all have their own arcs, but they still play a part in the larger narrative of who is the killer. No matter how big or small, each arc plays a role in building up the bigger parts of the story. While this is true for many other stories, and you'd probably be able to point out tons of other media that have the same structure, I think in these games it's a bit more blatant, as there is a larger shift in setting between major pieces of the plot. Additionally, with this structure comes the party members being added in a slow, gradual process. Pretty much every arc there's a new party member obtained, somewhere along the way until the main cast is all together.
Oh, everyone's all here.
This isn't the only place you'll notice formula. Persona 5 actually does have one other more blatant formula in its gameplay.
The power of these social links.
Persona 4, you gotta take a backseat on this one. But Persona 5, we gotta talk. In Persona 5, most of the non-story side character links follow the same formula. The first 6 ranks are spent building up a character's issue with a horrible person or people. They're in an unfair situation where they cannot bring themselves to stand against the person oppressing them. So around rank 7 or 8, Joker charges himself and the Phantom Thieves with changing the hearts of those oppressors. The following rank is the character telling Joker that everything got better. If you're a girl, rank 9 is the dating event, and then rank 10 is them telling you that they figured out you're a Phantom Thief.
Last day I'll request help from a Phantom Thief.
You are astonishingly bad at this. This actually helps the game more than it hinders it. It weaves the confidants into your activities as the Phantom Thieves, and makes you take more of an active role in helping them solve their problems. At the same time, I wish there was a bit more variety here. There are a set few side characters who don't have mementos requests, and only one of them, as far as I can remember, doesn't know you're actually a Phantom Thief. When you get down to it, it really isn't an issue. It's just more of a, I wish we had one more of this kind of link, or even a different order to the link. A social link with a character whose heart you've changed in mementos, or a link where a character's obstacle is removed earlier, would give a bit more variety to the links instead of the obvious, oh, here it comes at rank 7. Anyways, the social link formula isn't something I personally have an issue with here, but I do think it might be a good idea to make them a little less formulaic in the future.
You totally can't tell the difference?
I don't really know if this is a coincidence or purposeful, but between Persona 4 and 5, there are actually a lot of similarities with the characters and the gameplay. I think the one that's been pointed out the most is our two beloved psychotic detectives, which on a surface level is fine. They're actually pretty different characters beyond the base identity, but I don't need the next game to have a twist law enforcement villain. Like, we've already done it twice already. Do we really need it a third time? We've got the slow, gradual characters joining the party thing, which honestly I don't mind them changing even a little bit. Actually, having my whole party earlier would be kind of interesting. Additionally, in both games, the main character serves as kind of the problem solver for the main party. There aren't many moments we get the party interacting without them, and I think we could use a little bit more of them. I believe Persona 3 has this at least several times, and we even see it a little bit in the Persona 4 anime. And I think it would help strengthen the relationships between each party member. Speaking of party members, have you noticed that a lot of the roles are kind of the same between characters? Let me elaborate on this a little bit. Your first party member is a wind user that also has healing, physical damage, and status moves. Your second party member is a physical damage dealer who possesses the Chariot Arcana. Your third party member is a fire damage dealer with healing capabilities. Your fourth party member is a physical damage dealer who possesses the Emperor Arcana. Your fifth party member is a healer with strong magic capabilities. Your navigator is someone who you would not expect to be used in physical combat. Your sixth party member is actually different, considering P5 and P4 have a different number of main party members. Then your last member in the base game is a detective who has both light and dark magic capabilities, and also comes with almighty and physical moves. If you want to go even further than that, the fact that some characters have the exact same specializations doesn't really help. Ryuji and Kanji both boast the ability to use electric attacks but prefer to use physical, and Yusuke and Chie both have the ability to use ice attacks but also prefer physical. And the others I listed before all fill the same roles, albeit with some minor variety. While this wasn't a big deal, and I felt like there was still gameplay variety between the two games, I just hope we don't see the exact same thing in the next entry. Some more variety would be nice, and the same could be said about most of the things that are similar between these two games.
We ended up walking around, same as we always do in Japan.
Ultimately, most of the similarities between these two games aren't that big of a deal, so as long as they don't become long-running trends in the future games. You can have two detective traders who are written differently and are different characters, and it's fine. Same goes for the formula. I think these games are written differently despite having the same general structure. They're both good for different reasons, and I think that's what matters most. While it can sometimes feel like Persona 5 has elements of Persona 4 that are fully realized, what sequel doesn't do that? In the end, the most I can say is that while these two games do have a similar formula, I don't think it's that big of a deal so as long as P Studio doesn't stick too close to those cards in the future games. I don't see a problem with having some things staying similar. So what do you think of the similarities between Persona 4 and 5? Do they not bother you? Do they make it harder for you to enjoy the game? Let me know down in the comments below. You can leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to the channel for more things Persona, Atlus, and JRPG related. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.